Have you ever felt like you're not good enough no matter how much you achieve? Or maybe you find yourself constantly seeking approval from others, and that feeling of worth always seems just out of reach. What if I told you the key to understanding this feeling isn't in your present, but hidden deep within your past? We're going on a journey today, not back in time, but inward, to meet a part of you that might have been forgotten, your inner child. So, what exactly is the inner child? It's not a literal child living inside you. It's a concept from psychology that represents your childhood self, all the experiences, emotions, and beliefs you formed when you were young. Think of it as the emotional blueprint of who you are today. This inner child holds your capacity for wonder, joy, and creativity, but it also carries the hurts, fears, and unmet needs from your early years. Now, how does this connect to your self-worth as an adult? It's a direct link. Imagine a young child who is told they're too loud or too sensitive. Or maybe a child whose accomplishments were never celebrated or whose feelings were often dismissed. That child learns to believe that their authentic self is somehow wrong or unworthy. They start to build a protective shell, learning to be quieter, less emotional, or to constantly strive for perfection to finally earn that love and validation. Fast forward to adulthood. That child is now you, and that protective shell has become a core part of your personality. You might be a high achiever who never feels satisfied because the inner child is still trying to prove its worth. You might be a people pleaser who can't say no because the inner child learned that its own needs don't matter. You might have a harsh inner critic that constantly tells you you're failing because that's the voice the inner child internalized from a critical parent or teacher. These are what we call inner child wounds. They are the emotional echoes of past experiences that silently dictate our present behavior. When we feel a sudden wave of anxiety in a social situation, it might be our inner child remembering a time it felt rejected or embarrassed. When we sabotage a good relationship, it might be the inner child reenacting a belief that it's unlovable and will eventually be abandoned anyway. We think we're reacting to the present moment, but often we're reacting from a place of old pain. Our adult brain tries to make sense of it, but the root cause is much deeper. This is why simply telling yourself I am worthy often doesn't stick. It's like painting over a cracked wall without fixing the foundation. The affirmations are helpful, but they can't reach the wounded part of you that genuinely believes it isn't worthy. The real work, the transformative work, begins when we learn to connect with and heal that inner child. So how do we start this process of reclaiming our inner child? It's not about blaming our parents or dwelling on the past. It's about giving ourselves now what we needed then. It's about reparenting. The first step is simple acknowledgement. Just recognizing that this part of you exists is incredibly powerful. Try to visualize yourself as a child. What did you look like? What did you love to do? What were you afraid of? A great exercise is to find a photo of yourself as a kid. Look at that child. See the innocence, the potential, the vulnerability in their eyes. What would you say to that child? You wouldn't tell them they're not good enough or that their feelings are invalid. You would probably want to hug them, protect them, and tell them they are loved exactly as they are. That compassion you feel for the child in the photo, that's the compassion you need to start giving to yourself. The next step is listening. When you feel a strong, overwhelming emotion like intense anger, sadness, or fear, pause for a moment. Instead of judging it or pushing it away, ask yourself, what is my inner child feeling right now? What does this little one need? Maybe they need reassurance. Maybe they need to be told it's okay to be angry. Maybe they just need to feel safe. This is a dialogue. You, as the compassionate adult, are now here to listen to the child within. Let's take a common example, procrastination. We often beat ourselves up for being lazy, but what if we approached it with curiosity? Maybe procrastination is your inner child's way of rebelling against immense pressure. Perhaps as a kid, every task was tied to performance and approval, so now your inner self resists tasks because it's afraid of failure and judgment. Instead of forcing yourself to work, what if you said to your inner child, I know this feels scary. Let's just do a tiny piece of it for 5 minutes, and no matter what, it's okay. We're a team. See the shift? You move from being a critic to being a supportive coach. Another powerful tool is creative expression. Children don't process emotions by talking them out in therapy sessions. They do it through play, drawing, and storytelling. Allow yourself to do the same. Get some crayons and just draw whatever you feel, without any goal or judgment. Write a letter from your adult self to your child self, offering the words of love and support you long to hear. Or write a letter from your inner child to you, letting it all out on the page. You might be surprised by what comes up. This isn't about creating a masterpiece. It's about creating a safe channel for expression. Let's talk about play. When was the last time you did something just for fun, with no purpose, no goal to achieve? As adults, we get so caught up in being productive that we forget how to play. Your inner child thrives on play. It's how it feels alive and joyful. So schedule in playtime. It could be dancing to your favorite song in your living room, building with Legos, walking barefoot in the grass, or getting an ice cream cone just because. These small acts of joy are like sending a direct message to your inner child. Your happiness matters. You are allowed to have fun. This journey of healing your inner child is the foundation for building authentic self-worth. Because when you start to validate, protect, and love that vulnerable part of yourself, you stop needing so much validation from the outside world. Your sense of value becomes internal, not external. You start to trust yourself more. You set better boundaries because you are protecting that precious child within. You become more resilient to criticism because you are no longer hearing it through the ears of a wounded child, but as an adult who can discern and protect. Self-worth is not something you achieve. It's something you uncover. It's been there all along, buried under layers of conditioning and old hurts. By reconnecting with your inner child, you are not creating something new. You are simply returning to your most authentic self. You are reclaiming the wholeness that was always your birthright. This process takes time, patience, and a whole lot of self-compassion. There will be days when it feels difficult, when the old patterns feel stronger than ever. That's okay. On those days, be extra kind to yourself. Remember, you are learning a new way of being. You are fundamentally rewiring your emotional responses. If you find that exploring these past wounds brings up a lot of pain, it's always a good idea to seek support from a therapist or a counselor. They can provide a safe space and professional guidance to help you navigate these deeper waters. You don't have to do this alone. So the next time you feel that familiar pang of not being good enough, I invite you to pause, take a deep breath, and turn your attention inward. Ask that younger version of you what they need to hear. And then, from the wise, compassionate adult you are today, give it to them. Tell them, I'm here now, you're safe, and you are so, so loved. This simple act is the beginning of the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. I hope this gives you a new perspective on self-worth. If this resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more content. What's one thing you loved to do as a child? Share it in the comments below. Let's bring a little more play into our lives. See you next time.